Tonight is Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. If I guess in a couple of weeks or less, we're going to have Yud Tammuz, Tisha B'Av. So before we get there, we'll discuss some Minyani Rosh Chodesh. So the Gemara tells us in Brachas, Baruch Hashem Yom Yom, we say every night at davening, at least Minhag Ashkenaz is, and what do you mean Baruch Hashem Yom Yom? So the Gemara darshans that we have an obligation in part of the mitzvah of Tefillah that we have to mention Me'ena Ma'ora, that we have to make mention of the special day. Shabbos, we mentioned Shabbos, Yantiv, etc. We had Ya'aleh V'Yavo, we had Ritzeh. So on Rosh Chodesh we had the Ya'aleh V'Yavo. So the Gemara tells us in Brachas at the end of the fourth parak, what if one forgets to say Ya'aleh V'Yavo? So the Gemara makes a distinction between which tefillah we are talking about. So the Gemara says, if you forget, or basically it says, you don't have to go back from Ma'ariv, it says. Because the Gemara says, because Ein Makadesh in a Chodesh Balayla. And Shacharis and Mincha, you have to go back. If you forget Ritzeh, you have to repeat the davening. But at Ma'ariv, you don't have to go back because Ein Mekadesh and Chodesh Balayla. They're based in the Mina night. The Tosas in the beginning of the fourth parak on Brachas asks, like, why does the Gemara need the reason Ein Mekadesh and Chodesh Balayla? Just say simply, Tefillas Arav is Rishus. Since davening Ma'ariv is optional, I didn't have to daven in the first place, so that's why I don't have to go back if I forgot Ya'aleh V'Yavo. Why do we have to come on to the reason of Ein Mekadesh and Chodesh Balayla? So Tosas answers because it's not really a Rishus in the true sense of the word. If by Rishus you mean optional, that's not what it means. It means, relatively speaking, it's a lower level chiyuv. It's a lower level obligation you have to daven Ma'ariv over Shacharis and Mincha, but we wouldn't necessarily classify it as a rishus, and therefore you have to daven Ma'ariv. Exists when you have another mitzvah overis coming up, so then you're allowed to miss Ma'ariv. For that case, it's a mitzvah overis. But all things being equal, Ma'ariv isn't really a rishus, and therefore one has to repeat. One would have to repeat Ma'ariv, and therefore you can't use the reason of Rishus. You need Ein Mekadesh Chodesh Balayla. So that's the Gemara. So we assume Shacharis, Pashta, Shacharis, and Mincha you have to go back for, and Ma'ariv you don't go back for. So there's an interesting Machlokas Harishonim also in the fourth parak of Brachas. Chavav on the you turn over, there's a long Tosas on the top, dealing with the following. We're going to give you a little introduction first. The Gemara as well talks about the concept of tashlumin, the concept of a makeup. That basically, since it's appropriate, it's always appropriate to daven. So therefore, we have the concept of makeup, that if you miss a tefillah, you could make it up the next tefillah. So the Gemara goes through, you can make up Shacharis, Mincha, and the Gemara Chodesh is even from Mincha to Ma'ariv. Because even though it's two different days, Mincha, Ma'ariv, nevertheless we say you could do Tashlumin. So you could do Tashlumin on Shacharis, Mincha, Ma'ariv, and it's a discussion in the Rishonim, but we pass in only up into the next tefillah. So if I miss Shacharis, I can make it up at Mincha, but once I do Ma'ariv, then I can't make it up anymore. We have a statute of limitations on the way we pass, and it's only the next tefillah. It's interesting, Shaila, let's say, I think Rosh Hashanah Auerbach talks about someone who's about tshuva now, so they wanted to know, or they became about tshuva at 30. So all the Asher Yatzars I never said, they have to go, is there a tashlumin, do you make a, so he discusses the Shiloh. Yeah, but by tefillah, we assume it's one and done. You have one chance the next tefillah, and if not, and of course that's only if you miss it by mistake. If you miss it b'meiser, then there's no tashlumin anyways. That's the Gemara has a discussion of tashlumin. Interesting, by Shacharis, Mincha, and Ma'ariv. So Tosfos asks the obvious question: what about Musaf? Why come the Gemara didn't mention tashlumin by Musaf? In other words, why isn't there tashlumin by Musaf? That's the Tosfos answers on the bottom of Chavav Amud Beis. Tosfos answers because tefillah is rachamim hi. So Shacharis, Mincha, Ma'ariv, it's always appropriate to daven, so therefore we have tashlumin. But Musaf is basically linked to the karbanos. Hava yomo bato karbana. Once the day passed, the carbon isn't shayach anymore. So therefore, they point out that that's why there's no Musaf is exclusively linked to karbanos, and therefore there's no tashlumin. So the bottom line is we have tashlumin by Shacharis, Mincha, Ma'ariv. So Tosfos, so the Gemara on the top of Chavav Amud Beis deals with what happens if you miss Mincha Shabbos, which is 7 brachas, and now it's Ma'ariv. So the Gemara says you can make up, you daven 2 Ma'ariv Shmoneh Esreis. Or let's say the reverse, you miss Erev Shabbos, you missed the 19 bracha, but you can make it up as a 7 bracha. The Gemara basically says either way works. Whatever tefillah you missed, you always do it the next possible tefillah. And therefore, you make it up whatever you're davening now, whatever time it is now, that's what you're going to be davening. So if it's Shabbos, you'll daven 2 Shabbos Shmoneh Esreis. If it's the Chol, you'll daven 2 Chols. So the Rishonim raised the following question: what about the following case? It's, let's say in our example this year, Rosh Chodesh Tammuz was Wednesday and Thursday. So tomorrow, sunset, Rosh Chodesh is over. So what happens if tomorrow at Mincha, I daven Mincha and forget Ya'aleh V'Yavo? And then I remember, so if I remember right away, I have to daven over again. But I remember at nighttime, it's already Thursday night, I daven Mincha early, and I forgot Ya'aleh V'Yavo. And then Ma'ariv, I'm davening at 10 o'clock, I remember, wait a second, I didn't say Ya'aleh V'Yavo in Mincha. What's the halacha? Is there a din of tashlumin or not? So the first opinion in Tosfos is Rabbi Yehuda, right, that if you forget Ya'aleh V'Yavo Mincha tomorrow, and you remember a Ma'ariv, he says, it's Mu'uvos Lo Yuchol Liskon, there's nothing to do about it, because he says, what's the point? You already daven Mincha, you left out Ya'aleh V'Yavo, so to make up an tashlumin of Ma'ariv, just to daven Ma'ariv, and not say, you're not going to say Ya'aleh V'Yavo anyway, so Rabbi Yehuda says that you don't go back. There's no need to repeat it. And later on, then Tosfos quotes some different Rishonim, the Rif we'll call it, says you do have to go back. If you forget Ya'aleh V'Yavo in Mincha, now it's already late, you have to go back. So what is the Nekudat HaMachlokas between the Rishonim here, whether tomorrow night, the last Mincha of Rosh Chodesh, I forget Ya'aleh V'Yavo and it's nighttime. Rabbi Yehuda says there's no point. You already daven, you already You already daven, there's no Ya'al V'Yavo anyway, so it's fine, and the Rif says no. What's in the Kudas HaMachlokas? The issue is, how do you view a Shmona Esrei without Ya'al V'Yavo? How do you view a Shmona Esrei without Ya'al V'Yavo? In other words, am I yotze my mitzvah of tefillah, except I am lacking Yechiv Haskara, but I am yotze my mitzvah of mincha that day. I just not fulfilling Baruch Hashem Yom Yom. Or do I say no? If I mincha without Ya'al V'Yavo is a nothing. So Rabbi Yehuda's opinion is you yotze your mitzvah of tefillah. So therefore, what's the point of davening over again? You already fulfilled tefillah, and the chiyuv haskara can no longer be made up. So therefore, there's no point, and therefore that's enough. And the Rif says no, it's a nothing. So basically, just like everybody agrees that if I didn't daven mincha at all on Shabbos, what's the halacha? So the halacha is I have to daven 2 Shmona Esreis and Ma'ariv. Everybody agrees to that. So the Rif says it's no different. Davening mincha without Ya'al V'Yavo is equivalent to not davening mincha at all. And therefore, it's a case where you didn't daven at all, and therefore you didn't daven at all, and therefore you have to repeat. That's the Machlokas Rishonim on whether you have to repeat tomorrow night. If you forget Ya'al V'Yavo and mincha, and now it's Ma'ariv time, do I have to daven 2 Shmona Esreis? According to Rabbi Yehuda's Bali Tosfos, no, there's no point, because you're ready with Yotzei Tefillah, you're just lacking the Chiyuv Haskara. And according to the Rif, it's like I didn't daven at all, and therefore I do have to repeat. So that was the Machlokes we have in the Bali Tosfos. If you forget Ya'al V'Yavo, the last mincha before Rosh Chodesh, and now it's Ma'ariv, so according to Rabbi Yehuda, there's no point. You already fulfilled your mitzvah of tefillah. You're just lacking the chiyuv haskara, and there is none, so therefore you just keep on going. And according to the Rif, it's equivalent to someone who daven mincha. So what do we do halach l'mais if it happens tomorrow night? If tomorrow night you daven mincha, and you forgot Ya'al V'Yavo, and then you realize at night time, so that the post can bring down, it's a sveika dedina, how we paskin. So therefore, what they do is that the Mishnah Berurah brings down that you daven a second Shmona Esrei, but you make the following stipulation. If the halacha is like the Rif, then I'm davening because I have to daven. It's like I didn't daven mincha, and the regular chiyuv tashlumin kicks in. But if the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, I'm davening b'toras nedava. Even though normally we don't do a tefillas nedava, but since it's a tzveika dedina, what greater sarach than that? So therefore, you daven a second time with the stipulation: if I have to, this counts as a chova, and if I don't have to, this counts as a nedava. So that's how. So l'maisa, we do daven a second time, but not necessarily. We're doing a more l'chumra. We're covering our angles. When would this be a nafkamina? The real test would be, let's say, during the winter months when we're saying Tal Matar. So you say Tal Matar Mincha Erev Shabbos, and then you go into Shabbos. So let's say you forgot you daven Mincha, you left out Tal Matar, and now it's Friday night. And the Friday night davening, there is no Tal Matar. So the shaila is, do you have to repeat a second Shmona Esrei in Friday night davening? So if you assume, like Rabbeinu Yehuda, assuming we equate Mashiv HaRuach with Yalav Yavo. It's a separate share, but assuming they're equal. So, according to Rabbi Aaron Yehuda, you wouldn't have to repeat because you're already daven, and you're ready yote mincha, and you're not going to say Talamatar. And according to the Rif, you'd have to daven over again because you have a chiyuv tashuvah, you didn't daven mincha at all. So how do we pass it in that case? So why not go with the same sveika dedina, make a tanai? Because there's no, the lachis is no dedava on Shabbos. So we got to take a stand. We can't go with covering all bases. So Lamaisa, I think the Briskers, Rav Chaim, holds that Mashiv HaRuach, or I should say Talo Matar, is inherent in the Shemona Esrei, and therefore if you forget it, you have to repeat it. Therefore you say Friday night daven a second time. And other poets can disagree and say that no, it's not inherent. The right, we can make it up in Shomei Tefillah. So therefore, they say that that's it. So the minig is, unless you're a brisker, the minig probably is not to repeat Shemona Esrei, because only Rav Chaim sure, and he says that the Torah is Vadai, and therefore he says you have to daven over again. But we're not as convinced that it's inherent to the Shemona Esrei, and therefore we wouldn't repeat a second Shemona Esrei.
So we say no. Sorry.
Right. In that case, L'maisa, if we would not daven a second time. We assume we're going to go with Rabbi Aaron Yehuda that we yote the mitzvah of tefillah. So that's okay. So we had a chakira in what's pshat. If you forget Yalav Yavo, how do we do a Shemona Esrei without Yalav Yavo? Is it a regular Shemona Esrei except you're lacking the Chiyuv Haskara, or you're not even yote tefillah at all? We say Mainaf Kamina. Either way, I'm going to have to repeat davening. In other words, we say, because they're putting Ma'ariv aside. If you forget Yalav Yavo, we said you have to repeat Shemona Esrei. The question is, what's pshat? Why do we have to repeat Shemona Esrei for? Why do we have to repeat? Is it pshat that, as I'm saying, Yotze Tefillah, but it's the Chiyuv Haskara, since you can't do it in a vacuum, so Chazal said you have to do it in the context of the Shemona Esrei, so I have to daven another Shemona Esrei. Is that why I have to make it up? Or no, it's like I didn't daven at all, and therefore Shemona Esrei Yavo is nothing. So we said the nafkamina was the last case, the last mincha before Rosh Chodesh, whether you have to repeat or not, because if it's because I'm ready to Yotze Tefillah, there's no point of repeating another Shemona Esrei. But if it's like the second one, I'm not Yotze Tefillah, then I would have to. A second nafkamina would be as follows. So there's an interesting Magen Avram who has a big chiddush. Rav Soloveitchik has a bigger chiddush. But the Magen Avram writes, what happens if you fail? So guys, the pashtus is Shachris and Mincha we go back if we forget Yalav Yavo. Ma'ariv we don't go back. So the question is, let's say it's Shacharis, you forget Yalav Yavo and Shemona Esrei. So the halacha is, and okay, so repeat it. Go back and repeat Shemona Esrei. But the Magen Avram says, what if you forgot Yalav Yavo and Shemona Esrei, and then you remembered after you daven Musaf? So the Magen Avram writes, post facto, it's okay, is that since you mentioned the Chiyuv Haskara and Musaf, therefore you don't have to go back. You don't have to repeat. The Magen Avram is a big kiddush that if you already daven Musaf, then you remember, you don't have to go back. So which sheet is the Magen Avram working with? Shitas Rabbeinu Yehuda or Shitas of the Rif. So clearly, the Magen Avraham is working with Shitas Rabbeinu Yehuda. Because according to the Rif, there's nothing to talk about. It's a no-soap radio. What does me davening Musaf have to do with me davening Shacharis? Like you're telling me, so what, if I didn't daven Shacharis at all and I daven Musaf, I don't have to daven Shacharis? Of course, no one would say that. So the Rif says it's a joke. What's the difference that I daven Musaf? Why would that affect the din of Yalav Yavah? So clearly, the Magen Avraham is working with the Shitas Rabbeinu Yehuda that you already Yotzei Tefillah. We're just talking about repeating the Chiyav Haskara because you can't do it in a vacuum. So that's the Magen Avraham is clearly working with Shitas Rabbeinu Yehuda Yotzei Mitzvah Tefillah. So comes along with Soloveitchik, and he'll take it even to the next step. The Magen Avraham was saying B'di'evet. This is good for your Chazara with the notes. So the Magen Avraham says B'di'evet, if you're ready to daven Musaf, then you don't have to repeat Shmona, go back to Shacharis. But according to the Magen Avraham, let's say you remember before you daven Musaf, then you should repeat Shacharis, and then you daven Musaf. Comes along with Salvation says, even if you remember davening, you daven Shacharis, and you left out Yalav Yavo tomorrow, not an uncommon occurrence. So according to the Rav Salvation, you don't have to daven over again. You're going to daven Musaf, so everything's okay. He's arguing with the Magen Avraham, but the issue is he's only arguing on a lechatchila level. In other words, because what is Rav Salvation explained? Because we all know it in reality, but the Ramah says it, that really, if you don't have kavanah for the bracha rishona, you're really not Yotzei Shmona Esrei. But no one has kavanah, but we don't have 24 hours a day to keep on davening because we're never going to have kavanah. So what could we do? Obviously we do our best, but we're not on the left. So I know there's some gedolim who go back. Like for them it's a once in a while occurrence. But for us it happens every day. We don't have kavanah. So the Ramah writes, he's not happy with it. He's just being descriptive. But that's the reality. We don't need the Ramah. We know it's true. So Rav Salvation says, so really, strictly speaking, we're not really even Yotzei Shmona Esrei because we're not really having kavanah. So now I'm going to repeat another Shmona Esrei and make some more brachul avatalas. He said it's better to rely on the Magen Avraham, even lechatchila, than to get into the issue of making more brachas. You're going to say another 19 brachas avatalas, etc. So therefore, Salvation felt it was better not to daven over again because you're not going to have kavanah anyway, and be yotzei with the Magen Avraham after Musaf. That's Rav Salvation. And the logic seems very cogent to me. Better to, because everyone agrees. Once maybe you shouldn't have done it, but once you daven Musaf, so then you yotzei Yishacharis. So therefore, better to go that way and to get into all the issues of brachul of atalas. In fact, so when people come to me, and let's say they come to me tomorrow, they say they forgot Yalav Yavo and Shachars, what should they do? So I say something along the lines like, I really can't discuss it now, but come back to me after Musaf, and I'll tell you. So basically, I'm basically relying on Rav Salvation Shita. That basically, because when I come back after Musaf, I tell them it's fine. But to me that makes more, sense in terms of, and it's only a question of a lechatchila, so I much prefer relying on that than going through another Shmona Esrei, 19 brachas, which are questionable because we don't have the appropriate kavanah. Yes, so it depends who I'm talking to also. Like, if it's just an average person who, I'll just give them the bottom line, or if it's a Ben Torah, I might tell them, Rav Salvation says this, the consensus view is the other way, in terms of that. But it's not a big issue because it's only on a lechatchila. Everyone agrees. It's not really a machlokas. Everyone agrees one should daven musaf, but everyone agrees within the yiyotze. It's the issue of what is the best way. It's not a good situation already. You already forgot. Obviously, the simple answer is don't forget, and that's the ideal. But the question is, you're already dealing with it, but yet you forgot. And now the question is, what do you do now that you forgot? So the Magen Avraham says, if you remember after musaf, it's a go. But if not, you should repeat over. And the Rav Selevan says, no. Even lechatchila, it's better, because you always have to weigh the risk reward. If you go daven the Shemona Esrei, you're dealing with bracha levatolas, because you're not going to have kavanah. They'll be, what are we talking about? Lechatchila, so therefore he's clearly working with the Magen Avraham and Rabbi Yehuda that he yotze the mitzvah of tefillah, even you yotze your mitzvah of tefillah even without the alav yava, and therefore it's enough just to make it over musaf.